Arc Raiders Shrouded Sky update was definitely the biggest update we've seen yet in the game, but not everything it brought in was a good change. Yesterday we tried it out for the first ever time, taking on the Hurricane, fighting against the brand new Arc and the Firefly. And attempting to fight the Comet. There he is! Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! Oh! We discovered the brand new high value loot zone on Dam. I believe it's called the Control Access Zone, which I think makes the map even better. But today let's talk a little bit about the weapon balancing, a new instrument that's in the game, technically, and some other things that may have changed that you weren't aware of. Let's start things off with the weapon balance changes. Starting things off with the Stitcher. I don't know if the Stitcher really needed this big of a nerf, maybe a little bit of one, but on paper, it looks like it got kind of destroyed. The headshot multiplier has been reduced from 2.5 down to 1.75, probably could have kept it at 2, reduced the base damage from 7 to 6.5, and increased per shot dispersion by around 50%. In parentheses, making it bloom faster. That sounds horrible. So not only are you going to be doing less damage to the head, you're going to be doing less damage overall, and your shots may not even end up going where you're aiming. That to me, that doesn't even sound fun. And then the kettle also got nerfed. I don't know why the kettle was nerfed. I don't think it was that big of a deal. After they reduced the maximum fire rate on the kettle, I thought it was fine. There weren't any more cheaters. It definitely wasn't overpowered, but it rewarded you for hitting your shots and being accurate and shooting as fast as you possibly can. But they still decided to reduce the base damage from 10 to 8.5. Not 10 to 9.5, not 10 to 9, 8.5. What are they doing? And then the PvP king, the Venator, has been nerfed once again. Which, I mean, it probably did need a little bit of a nerf. I think they overcompensated on all of these changes so far. They reduced the headshot multiplier from 2.5 to 2, which I think is a good change. But then they also reduced the base damage from 9 to 8. I don't like that one. I think the base damage should have stayed at 9, but reduced the headshot multiplier, maybe even reducing the headshot multiplier to 1.75. But keeping the damage at 9 would have probably been a better change than what we got here. We'll have to wait and see how things pan out. Also, I tried to use the Venator yesterday, and it felt like it wasn't shooting as fast, but that's not stated here. Maybe there was just a glitch in the game, maybe I was lagging that game, but it didn't feel quite the same. And then 2 of the legendary weapons also got an update. The Jupiter actually got buffed to improve ADS magnification from 1.9 to 2.2 times, improve the equip time from 1.2 seconds to 1.05 seconds, so you're going to be able to pull it up even faster, and you're also going to be able to put it away even faster. The Aphelion reduced base reload time from 4.5 seconds to 3.5 seconds. You're going to be reloading this a whole second faster. It reduced the time between shots so you can shoot it even quicker, reducing the vertical recoil by 50%. I've never used the Aphelion, but 50%, and improve the ADS settle speed by 35%. One thing I noticed before even reading these patch notes is that now everybody has the option. If you have the items on you, you'll be able to craft energy clips. You no longer need one of the legendary blueprints unlocked. You can just craft the energy clip, and this is how you can make crazy money. You can craft the energy clip and sell it for, I believe, 5,000 space dollars. That's definitely a way that everyone's been trying to get their money up before expeditions. There's still a couple days here, so if you guys want to try out the energy clip method, now you can. And then they also updated the item values and what it costs to make or craft some of these items. I think updating the value, if you're going to buy it from a shop, perfectly fine. But they changed the way and the parts needed to craft some of these items, and I don't fully agree with them. So if we come on over here to their workbenches into the explosive station, the deadline now costs a Comet Igniter. But as well, they increased the value from 5,000 to 6,000, and the trader price increased from 15,000 to 18,000. So it seems like whatever the value of the actual item is, you have to pay 3 times that if you're going to buy it off a trader, which is why I would love if they would open up Speranza and do a tiny marketplace, nothing massive, not as big as the Destiny Space Tower, just a tiny little marketplace that has the market stalls for each of the traders, and then in the center, You can talk to some people, you can trade with some people, you can barter with some people, instead of paying 3 times the price for anything you want. If we look at the Trailblazer, you now need Firefly burners, which honestly isn't too bad. I think this one's perfectly fine. But the value of this also increased from 1,600 to 2,200, meaning the trader price is now 6,600. The big one that a lot of people are complaining about is the Wolfpack. As you can see, the Wolfpack takes a Rocketeer driver now to create this. However, you only need 1 explosive compound, whereas before I think you needed 2. And the value also has increased from 5,000 to 6,000. But I think if they were going to make this change, they should have also upped the damage a little bit and make it so it can fully destroy a Rocketeer with 1 Wolfpack. Because as of right now, you throw a Wolfpack at it, sometimes it does destroy it. Sometimes you need a lot more shots. If we hop over here to the medical lab, the Vita spray also has been updated, increased from 3,000 to 3,400, and you need a tick pod to create this now. I don't think this is a huge change. Doesn't really affect too much. Tick pods are easy to get, but it also leaves in a question of like, why? They're forcing you to hold more things in your stash. Makes me believe they're trying to push the expeditions further, telling you need more stash space so you go on these expeditions. But I gotta be honest with you, personally, if you don't play that game this much, or if you play multiple different games, I don't think the expedition's really worth it. The blueprints at the moment are just sometimes too difficult to find. I've played this game, I've been topside for 130 hours, and I still don't have all the blueprints. Now, if you're playing this game every single day, 1000% the expedition's worth it for you. Go on it, restart your loop, and have fun finding those blueprints again. But as of right now, I don't know, it just doesn't seem appealing to me. But back over here to the explosive station, we also have the Showstopper now needing a Hornet driver. Again, don't think this is too bad, but they also changed it from advanced electrical components down to electrical components. I think that is a big W there. And I think that's a pretty good trade-off for the Hornet driver over advanced electrical components. And they also decreased the value from 2,200 to 2,100. But by far, one of the best things I've seen in the entire patch notes here, they prevented enabling all Nvidia freestyle filters simultaneously to remove an unfair visual advantage. So if you're ever watching your favorite streamers or your friends on PC or you're on PC, you could actually hop into your Nvidia filters and make the night raids or the electromagnetic storms, or even if you're just inside Stella Montis and it's dark, you could use those filters to make it look like daytime, which created a massive unfair advantage for the people using the filters versus the people not using the filters, especially in a game where if you die, you lose whatever you had. I'm so happy, and I hope this works. I hope this fix works. So everyone's on the same playing ground. Everyone's looking for each other in the dark. They've also removed PvP feats, updating a few existing feats and adding a few new ones. I think this is actually really good because I was always confused. They say they don't promote or push PvP, even though it is in the game. It's your option if you want a PvP. Having the feat or one of the feats pop up and be like, damage a raider using a heavy weapon, that forces you to go in PvP and be more aggressive. And yes, that's perfectly fine for some people, but for others who just want a PvE, especially with all the talk around the aggression-based matchmaking, they would just not do it in fear that they would be placed in more aggressive lobbies. Because I know there are people out there that purely play this as like a cozy game where they go and meet other people, they loot, they scavenge, and they get out. That's what makes this game so great though, is you can play it pretty much however you want, to a degree. There's always going to be those psychopaths out there that hunt you down, but to a degree, you can play this game however you want. It's a unique experience for everyone that hops on the game and really allows you to play the game how you want to play it. There's definitely some more changes, more highlights, more bug fixes. Oh, the instrument. Right. If you guys find a piano anywhere on any of the maps, you can now go up to it and play the piano. Oh, so technically, it's not an instrument you can put in your inventory and carry around with you, like the guitar, the shaker, or I believe the recorder. But if you find one on the map, you can play it. So a lot of these changes, a lot of these updates, I really do like. I think it brings a lot of value to the game. However, there's a couple changes in here I don't think needed to be made. And I think it also kind of hurts the game overall. And I've seen a lot of people complaining online and saying like, I know people online are dramatic. And they're like, oh, this makes me more excited for Marathon, or they're ruining the game. This game will be dead in a year. I don't think any of that's true. They're still trying to find their footing. This game just came out in October. They're making their efforts. They're trying to make it the best game they can for the millions and millions of people playing the game. You're never going to make everyone happy, But I do think if you're going to make changes like they did to the Wolfpack with the Rocketeer, I think that's fine to have the Rocketeer driver needed to build it. However, maybe make it deal a little bit more damage so it can actually destroy a Rocketeer. I also think some of the changes for some of the weapons weren't really needed as well. Again, I think the Venator did need a little bit of a nerf, but I think they over-nerfed it. We'll have to wait and see, try it out more. The Stitcher, I don't think needed a nerf. You have two SMGs in the game, the Stitcher and the Bobcat. There's no in between. And you felt as though if you had a Stitcher, it was more so that secondary weapon. You go in with like a Renegade or you go in with an Osprey and you carry that Stitcher as a backup weapon for close quarters combat because it's not really good at mid to long ranges, but it was a cheap weapon that you could go in with and still feel like you could hold your own. Now, after the update, that might not be the case. I tried the Stitcher out once yesterday, got absolutely fried. Also, the Kettle, taking a nerf to the base damage, I don't see why this is a good thing. I think maybe they could have done the damage drop off if they wanted it to be more versatile to up close and not be as versatile in those mid to long ranges, but like to reduce the entire base damage of the weapon by 1.5 is a big statement, especially for a single fire weapon. Again, the Kettle is a weapon that people could go in with. They could use their resources to upgrade it, to put on attachments, and make it still feel like they could hold their own. Because you're not taking the Kettle in to fight Arc, let's be real. And if they were going to make these changes, they could have made it so the level 1 or level 2 weapons maybe have reduced damage, but as you upgrade it, you get those stats back. So that means you're forced to upgrade the weapon if you want to use it and feel viable with that weapon. So you can't just go in with a free kit and expect to take everyone out. I think that would have been a better way to do it. Have the level 1, level 2 weapons a little bit weaker, but use your resources to upgrade them. You get those stats back, you can make it better, and forces people to not just run free kits all the time. Because I think that is one major thing that I'm seeing is like, you go through and you could wipe out 2, maybe 3 teams, and they all just have free kits. But like I said, this game is a unique experience for everyone. Not everyone might be running into that. Maybe that's a me problem. I don't know. But you guys let me know your thoughts on the Shrouded Sky update, everything in the patch notes, the weapons being changed, the grenades being changed, their value, their crafting materials needed. What are your thoughts overall on the Shrouded Sky update? I think the map changes, the new map conditions, the new arc, I think those are all great things. It comes down to weapon balancing. That's where I start to have some questions. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and bell for notifications. I'll catch you right back here in the next one. Peace out.